All right, how do I look? Like, I look like a mess. Eyebrows down. Should I have my playbills on? Thank you so much for this award. It means so much to me. Take a shot every time I say death becomes her. Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Jonah Ruderman. I am a theater lover, doer. I'm a musical theater student at Pace University in New York City. And today I'm talking about the long-awaited thing for all musical theater lovers everywhere, the Tony Awards. If you don't know what the Tony Awards are, which, what are you doing? Is the Broadway/theater version of the Oscars. In this Broadway season, there were 42 shows eligible for Tony Award nomination, and out of that 42, 29 of them were nominated for Tony Awards. So I don't do math, because I do theater, but that is a little over than half of them being nominated for actual Tony Award. But today, let's focus on the positive, on all the shows that have been nominated, and my predictions of who I think is gonna win. If you disagree with me, put it in the comments. If you agree with me, put it in the comments. It's a very friendly place. This is just theater kids expressing their feelings, and everyone's gonna have different feelings, and I'm gonna have different feelings, and we're gonna explore them today. We're gonna start with, I think, how the show runs. So we're gonna start at like the bottom to like the big categories, ending with best play and best musical. So we have best orchestrations for Just in Time, Maybe Happy Ending, Floyd Collins, Buena Vista Social Club, and Sunset Boulevard. So I've been able to see Maybe Happy Ending and Sunset Boulevard. I have yet to catch the other ones, but here are my predictions. So who I think should win is Just in Time. If you don't know, Just in Time is about Bobby Darin, who Jonathan Groff plays in this musical. He's a very famous singer years and years ago. I think that it should win best orchestrations because they are literally taking this music that hasn't been played in, 50 years or so and revamping it for this new Broadway audience for all ages. Who I think is going to win is Maybe Happy Ending. I totally think that Maybe Happy Ending should win, so I would not be mad about it at all. I think the orchestrations for the show are beautiful, and we'll get to the score later, but I think it's a really, really beautiful show. Moving on to best choreography, we have Smash, Gypsy, Death Becomes Her, Boop the Musical, and Buena Vista Social Club. So I've been able to see all the shows in this category except for Smash, but I watched the TV show, and it's the same guy who did the TV show, and he's wonderful. In my opinion, who should win is Christopher Catelli for Death Becomes Her. The show is so camp. I've listened to the cast recording here on YouTube if you want to watch that. I think it's just wonderful. I think it's a beautiful blend of ballroom Vogue and classic Broadway. I think it's a perfect blend of those worlds, and he's truly a genius for what material he was given. But I think who will win is Patricia Delago and Justin Peck for Buena Vista Social Club. I am so upset I haven't been able to catch this, so I'm really gonna try and catch it before the Tony Awards happen. But from the videos I've seen, from my friends who have seen it, from just hearing around the community, it looks incredible. I think also the exploration of culture is so beautiful and is truly one of a kind, especially in this season when it comes to that. So I'm really hoping for that one. I think it's really gonna take it. Okay, we're getting into more of the serious categories that I am quite nervous about my take on. So we have best direction of a musical. We have Sahim Ali for Buena Vista Social Club, Michael Arden, Maybe Happy Ending, David Cromer, Dead Outlaw, Christopher Catelli, Death Becomes Her, and Jamie Lloyd for Sunset Boulevard. So direction of a musical can include the revivals and the new musicals. For me, I really think it's between two as much as I think the other people are brilliant. Who I would really love to win is Michael Arden for Maybe Happy Ending. I think his vision for the show is what really has soared in this production. If you don't know what Maybe Happy Ending is, it's basically about two robots who were helper bots to their humans. This takes place in the future. And maybe they fall in love, maybe they don't. Maybe happy ending. It stars Darren Criss and Helen J. Shen, who are wonderful in the show. But I think the world building that Michael Arden has created, and he does it in all of the shows that he's directed, is the strongest part of this show. Now, who do I think will win is Jamie Lloyd for Sunset Boulevard. I think the campaign for the show has been so strong and so much about Jamie Lloyd. The amount of press that Nicole Scherzinger, Tom Francis, and Jamie Lloyd have done for the show is unlike anything I've really ever seen for a Broadway show before. The hype around this is so much, and I also think his vision is quite spectacular and one of a kind and really has changed what Sunset Boulevard is. So I would like Michael Arden to win, but I think Jamie Lloyd is going to take the award. So moving on to best direction of a play, we have Nude Adams for English, Sam Mendes, The Hills of California, Sam Pinkleton, Oh Mary, Danya Tamor, John Proctor as the villain, and Kip Williams for The Picture of Dorian Gray. So I've been able to see Hills of California and Oh Mary. I'm seeing John Proctor's the villain next week. I'm very excited for that. But from what I've seen, I think Sam Pinkleton deserves the Tony for Oh Mary because you have the zany book by Colascola who plays Mary Todd Lincoln. And then you have all these crazy characters, and Sam Pinkleton justified all of these crazy decisions that these characters make, which I think is really admirable. And so I think he could really, really win it. But I think it's going to go to Kip Williams for Picture of Dorian Gray. From what I've seen, what I've read, what I've heard, Sarah Snook is basically doing a one-woman play, playing all the characters using mirrors and cameras, very similar to Sunset Boulevard where they have a lot of cameras on stage, but the inclusion of the crew is part of the show to make it happen. And I cannot even imagine in the rehearsal room being like, okay, Sarah, you're playing character number 27. Let's create their whole character now, and you're gonna have to act with yourself. Make the cameras justifiable, which I also think Jamie Lloyd did with Sunset Boulevard. Creating the world for this to make sense and for us to believe it is really an insane task. Moving on to best sound design of a musical, a category that I am totally qualified to say, but we're just gonna say my thought. So we have Jonathan Deans for Buena Vista Social Club, Adam Fisher for Sunset Boulevard, Peter Hylenski for Just in Time, Peter Hylenski for Maybe Happy Ending, and Dan Moses Schreier for Floyd Collins. I've been able to see a couple of these, so in my opinion, I think who should win is Jonathan Deans for Buena Vista Social Club. I think that the inclusion of the music, and they're winning that Tony Award for music, which means that you must be able to hear all of the sounds in that world. I've also heard from a lot of friends, and I've seen that a lot of the show is spoken in Spanish, and so the ability for audience members who do not speak Spanish, or tourists who are coming into New York to see a Broadway musical, the fact that they are able to enjoy it, I think is a real testimony to the sound designer Jonathan Deans. Who I think will win, which I think may be a surprise, is Dan Moses Schreier for Floyd Collins. If you don't know Floyd Collins is about a guy who wants to go into this huge cave, and the way that he keeps himself entertained and hopeful while going through this cave while he gets stuck in there is his own voice. So he'll sing a note, and then it'll echo, and then it'll echo, and it'll echo. I haven't been in the theater to experience it, but I have friends who have seen it 1, 2, 3, maybe more times, and they just keep telling me how immersive it is, especially in the Vivian Beaumont, which is a humongous theater. So I think we'll all be surprised, and I think they might take the Tony. I'm kind of killing it over here. I'm like knocking them out like it's nothing. Sound design of a play. So here are the nominations. So we have Paul Arditi for Stranger Things The First Shadow, Palmer Hefferon for John Proctor as the Villain, Daniel Klugger for Good Night and Good Luck, Nick Powell for The Hills of California, and Clarence Williams, The Picture of Dorian Gray. So I may be a little biased because the two shows that I picked I have seen, but I'm taking everything into account. In my opinion, who I think should win is Nick Powell for The Hills of California. The whole thing takes place in this huge hotel, and throughout it you hear, you know, people upstairs in their rooms, you hear outside when the door opens. The inclusion of music is really, really wonderful in this production, so I think it deserves to win. But who I think will win is Paul Arditi, Stranger Things The First Shadow. This show, in many ways, is such a spectacle. Act 1 and Act 2, without giving spoilers, is basically like 2 episodes of the show, and so the inclusion of all of these, I mean, they're brilliant special effects, which is why they're winning that Tony Award. But the inclusion of the sound with it, and jump scares, and all of these special effects, everything really, really incredible. Moving on to Best Lighting Design. I am a huge, huge lighting lover. I love lighting design, my own stuff. I think it's just phenomenal. I think if it's done right, it is so impactful. So I have a lot to say about these categories. So Best Lighting Design for a Musical, we have Jack Knowles for Sunset Boulevard, Tyler McCullough for Buena Vista Social Club, Scott Zelensky and Ray Horing-Sun for Floyd Collins, Gwen Stanton for Maybe Happy Ending, and Justin Townsend for Death Becomes Her. The lighting design in these shows are so musical and extravagant, but also sometimes have those moments where it draws back to more center stage solo vibe. Who I think deserves the Tony or should win is Justin Townsend for Death Becomes Her. What I love about the show is everyone was on the same page. The set design, the lighting design, the sound design, the costume design, the actors, the direction, the choreography, everyone was on the same page. And the lighting only illuminates, pun intended, the world that they've created. Who I think is going to win is Jack Knowles for Sunset Boulevard. If you have seen this production, if you haven't, there is no set, there are cameras, there are LED screens, and there are beautiful, beautiful lights. But again, where Death Becomes Her is this beautiful, colorful rainbow world, Sunset Boulevard is this gray, white, black, sometimes red world. And to go on my point before, it is very impactful. All of the choices that are made are very specific and poignant and direct, which I think also goes hand in hand with Jamie Lloyd's direction for the show. Moving on to lighting design for a play, Natasha Chivers for The Hills of California, John Clark, Stranger Things The First Shadow, Heather Gilbert and David Bitgali for Good Night and Good Luck, Natasha Katz and Hannah Wasilensky for John Proctor as the Villain, and Nick Schleiper for The Picture of Dorian Gray. I think we can all agree, whether you've seen it or not, that John Clark designing Stranger Things The First Shadow is going to win and kinda deserves to win. Like I said before, this show is quite a marvel and worth every penny of what you are watching. The combination of the set design, which we'll get to later, and this lighting design, it complements each other and really immerses you in this world, and I'm all about immersing into the world. I'm all about that. So John Clark, you ate with that. I think are gonna win. Best costume design of a musical. We have Dede Aite for Buena Vista Social Club, Greg Barnes, Boop the Musical, Clint Ramos for Maybe Happy Ending, Paul Tazwell, Death Becomes Her, and Catherine Zuber for Just in Time. Similar to lighting design for a play, I think it's very clear who's gonna win costumes for this, and to me, that is Paul Tazwell for Death Becomes Her. Paul Tazwell has proved himself in numerous Broadway shows, but recently has really proven his work in Wicked Part 1, which he just won the Oscar for this past year. I think he totally understands every world he's been given, and he adds just another layer, pun intended, to the story that they are telling, and Death Becomes Her is no stranger to that with all of its special effects as well, similar to Stranger Things, and all the elements that come with it. So Paul Tazwell, you are one more closer to that EGOT. Best costume design of a play. We have Brenda Abendandolo for Good Night and Good Luck, Marg Horwell for The Picture of Dorian Gray, Rob Howell for The Hills of California, Holly Pearson for Oh Mary, and Bridget Reifenstuhl for Stranger Things The First Shadow. So I've been able to see everything on this list except for The Picture of Dorian Gray. So in my opinion, who I think should win is Bridget Reifenstuhl for Stranger Things The First Shadow. I don't know how much costume design goes into how much we see some of our favorite monsters from that TV show, but I think the combination of the 80s nostalgia of it all, and again, the world building that has been created in that show. But I think who will win is Mark Horwell for The Picture of Dorian Gray. As I've mentioned, Sarah Snook plays literally every single part in the show, and from what I've seen, there are costumes for almost every one of those characters, and it happens on stage before our very eyes. Similar to A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which was on Broadway over 10 years ago, which I saw. You have one character who is playing a billion characters, in this case, way more than they were in that show. But creating very distinct looks for that one character is a task that I cannot imagine. Moving on to best scenic design of a musical. As well as I love lighting, I love a good set. So for set design, we have Rachel Hawke for Swept Away, Dane Lawfrey and George Ree for Maybe Happy Ending, Arnulfo Maldonado for Buena Vista Social Club, Derek McLean for Death Becomes Her, and Derek McLean for Just in Time. All of these sets are incredible. I mean, Just in Time in the Circle and the Square has really taken that space and made it like a nightclub vibe. Buena Vista Social Club really is an explosion of that culture in that world. And Swept Away literally had a boat on stage that would go through basically a hurricane on stage before our very eyes. But who I think deserves the Tony Award is Derek McLean for Death Becomes Her. This is one of the very few musicals that we still have on Broadway that is big Broadway sets. I would definitely hold it up to the standards of like Wicked, The Lion King, those big Broadway musicals that people want to travel thousands of miles to go see. But who I think will win and also truly deserves it is Dane Lawfrey and George Reeve for Maybe Happy Ending. I think that combination of Michael Arden's vision and Dane and George's way of being like, we got you. Maybe Happy Ending is all about a road trip. We go on that road trip. We see memories come to life. We see all of these things. We see beautiful turntable, maybe some lifts. It is truly a spectacle with such a beautiful story, so I think they're gonna get the Tony Award. Moving on to Best Scenic Design of a Play, we have Marcia Ginsburg for English, Rob Howell for The Hills of California, Mark Horwell and David Bergman for The Picture of Dorian Gray, Miriam Buther and 59 for Stranger Things The First Shadow, and Scott Pask for Good Night and Good Luck. I think similar to the lighting design, it is no surprise that Stranger Things The First Shadow will be getting this Tony Award. That's almost guaranteed. I don't think I have much to say. You want to see a Demogorgon? You're gonna see a Demogorgon. You want to see the Mind Flayer? Oh, you're gonna see the Mind Flayer. You think that they can only do this stuff on film? I think not. But huge shout out to The Picture of Dorian Gray and Hills of California. Picture of Dorian Gray with the screens going up and down and to the side. Hills of California literally creating a hotel. Okay, moving on to Best Original Score. So there have been a lot of new musicals this year. As I mentioned, 14 new musicals, but only one can take the cake when it comes to the song. I feel like I'm like RuPaul. 4 queens stand before me. Who are the queens? We have Dead Outlaw by David Yazbek and Eric Della Penna, Death Becomes Her, Julia Madison and Noel Carey, Maybe Happy Ending, Will Aronson and Hugh Park, Operation Mincemeat, David Cumming, Felix Hagen, Natasha Hudson, and Zoe Roberts, Real Women Have Curves the Musical, Joy Huerta, and Benjamin Velez. What I really love about this category is that a lot of these new scores, some of them are not really based on anything or come from anything, which I think is really awesome to have them in this category. I loved Real Women Have Curves. It was so much fun. I literally was like dancing in my seat. It was so fun. And that Act 2 number of the title song brought the house down. Operation Mincemeat, I have yet to see. I am dying to go see this. It won a lot of Olivia Awards, so I've heard amazing things. But I think who should win is maybe Happy Ending or Death Becomes Her. I think Death Becomes Her, and I've expressed it on here, it is one of my favorites of the season. Takes the movie score and expand it into this rich Broadway extravaganza and maybe happy ending, literally building it from the ground, has created one of the most heartwarming scores I've ever heard in my life. But who I think surprisingly will win is David Yazbek and Eric De La Pena for Dead Outlaw. I'm not giving reviews here, but personally when I saw Dead Outlaw, I didn't totally get the story, I didn't totally vibe with it, but something that really stood out was that score. They have the band on stage the entire time who are actually a part of the show sometime, and I just think the combination with the sound hitting us like a train, I was vibing to almost every single song in that show. It was just so great. But maybe happy ending, you're sneaking up on me for that one. Okay, moving on to best book of a musical. We have Buena Vista Social Club written by Marco Ramirez, Dead Outlaw by Itamar Moses, Death Becomes Her by Marco Pinette, Baby Happy Ending by Will Aronson and Hugh Park, and Operation Mincemeat by David Cummings, Felix Hagen, Natasha Hodson, and Zoe Roberts. What I love so much about everything in this category is that the music and the book are like one. They just happen to be singing, which is what musical theater is. Who I think deserves to win is Marco Ramirez for Buena Vista Social Club. Buena Vista Social Club is basically the telling of this album of the same name and the family dynamics and that culture and how it came to be. I think the way that it's told is really, really beautiful. Who I think will win is Operation Mincemeat, a new musical. From what I understand, I like to go into most musicals cold, but from what I understand, it's about World War II and basically how Britain helped take down the Nazis. And there are these, I think, 4 or 5 people in the show, similar to Come From Away, play a billion different characters. And I think for a show to really succeed, and obviously direction is a huge part of that, but I think it needs to be written in such a way that is so understandable for an audience. And it seems like Operation Mincemeat is really succeeding in that aspect, so I think they're gonna win. 40 minutes into filming, we're finally moving on to the beautiful performances that these actors are putting on this scene. So, starting with, we have Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical. We have Brooks Ashmanskas for Smash, Jeb Brown for Dead Outlaw, Danny Burstein for Gypsy, Jack Malone for Operation Mincemeat, a new musical, and Taylor Trench for Floyd Collins. As I mentioned before, I was able to see Dead Outlaw and Gypsy, yet to see Mincemeat, Floyd Collins, and Smash. But luckily, I have seen these performers before, and so I think I can really go off of who they are and what I've seen. Brooks Ashmanskas, one of my favorite Broadway performers ever. I played Barry in the Prom earlier this summer. I studied him like it was my life depended on it. Taylor Trench, I saw in Dear Evan Hansen and was Matilda. He's great. And Danny Burstein, I did see in the show, and I also saw him do Fiddler. I've seen him in other shows too. He's wonderful. So who's really creeping up on me that might deserve that Tony is Jeb Brown for Dead Outlaw. He is on stage the entire time. He is almost the narrator of the show, but also is a part of the story. And he's also playing a live instrument the entire time. That role is a beast. I don't know many other people who can play that role. Who I think is going to win is Jack Malone for Operation Mincemeat. Going back to the campaign thing, I think the show has really been riding on his success in the show. The first thing I saw of the show was his beautiful song that broke my heart called Dear Bill. And that's kind of their advertising for the show. It's like Jack Malone is giving a once-in-a-lifetime performance in Operation Mincemeat. He won the Olivier for the London production. And I think he is a really, really, really big contender, and I think could win the Tony Award for this year. Okay, moving on to Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Play. The nominees are Glenn Davis for Purpose, Gabriel Ebert for John Proctor's The Villain, Francis Ju for Yellowface, Bob Odenkirk for Glengarry Glen Ross, and Conrad Ricomata for O'Mary. So I've been able to see Purpose and O'Mary. I'm really sad I missed Yellowface. That was one I really wanted to see. But from what I have seen, the people who I'd really love to win is Conrad Ricomata for O'Mary, he played Abe Lincoln, and Glenn Davis for Purpose, who plays the brother. They're both are giving very different performances, but with equal amount of rage and power, and I think they're both really, really phenomenal in their show. Who I think is gonna win? I'm usually not a huge fan of like the movie star trope where movie stars come here and then like win Best Musical. But Bob Odenkirk, from what I've heard, is giving really a phenomenal performance, so I think he's really up there to win. But again, everyone in this category is really great. I just think the combination between his performance and his status, he might get it. Moving on to Best Performance of an Actress in a Featured Role in a Musical, we have, oh my god, my thing fell. Oh my god, hello. We have Natalie Venetia Belcon for Buena Vista Social Club, Julia Niddle for Dead Outlaw, Gracie Lawrence Just in Time, Justina Machado for Real Women Have Curves the Musicals, and Joy Woods for Gypsy. I have been able to see everyone except for Natalie and Gracie for Just in Time and Buena Vista Social Club. So I have a lot of thoughts when it comes to this category, but I'm gonna try and condense them. Joy Woods and Gypsy is amazing. I did see her earlier in her run. I've heard that she's really grown with the part, and I think that's really amazing, but she was really great in the show. Gracie Lawrence and Just in Time, I've heard is phenomenal. I think all 3 of these people deserve to win. But I really want to win Julia Niddle in Dead Outlaw. First of all, she is the only woman in the show, and she is playing any character imaginable. She's playing a wife, ensemble member who is wearing a crazy costume and totally blending into this crazy world. She is really, really phenomenal in that show, and really one of my favorite performances in that show. Who I think is going to win, and also very deserved, is Natalie Ventia Belcon for Buena Vista Social Club. So, from what I understand, she is the lead of the band. She is the lead singer of this album that they're creating. I think it's interesting that she's in featured role of a musical. Again, I haven't seen it, but I think it's interesting because she's literally on the poster. But I guess the band is really the leads of the show. I think she is such an underrated actress. She's the original Gary Coleman in Avenue Q. She was in Matilda as Mrs. Phelps. She's really paid her dues on Broadway being in the ensemble, and now she is nominated for a Tony Award, and I think this is going to be a really, really big celebration for her. Moving on to Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Play, we have Tala Asha for English, Jessica Hecht for Eureka Day, Marjan Nashat for English, Fina Straza for John Proctor's The Villain, and Kara Young for Purpose. So yes, Purpose is the only one on this list that I've been able to see, but Kara Young is giving such a performance in the show. This is her 4th year being nominated for a Tony Award in a row. She won last year for Pearly Victorious, which I also saw, and she was absolutely phenomenal in that. But Kara Young always brings like this almost nervous, like strong energy to every role she's played, and Purpose is exactly that. Kara Young plays a friend slash situationship with the lead character, and she comes over and witnesses family dinner of his family, who turn out to be kind of celebrities for her. I just can't say enough about Kara Young. She gives one of my favorite performances I've seen all season and in seasons past. I want to go see Purpose again just to see her performance. We're moving on to the big categories. Stand by, we'll do this together. So we have Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical. We have Darren Criss for Maybe Happy Ending, Andrew Durand for Dead Outlaw, Tom Francis for Sunset Boulevard, Jonathan Groff for Just in Time, and James Monroe Iglehart in A Wonderful World, the Louis Armstrong musical. So this is a tough category. Darren Criss, again, it's a 2-person musical, Darren Criss and Helen J. Shen. It is literally them on stage the entire time. He is giving such an open-hearted performance for the audience. It's so beautiful. He sounds great, and he's so connected to the material he's portraying. Andrew Durand, can I say about Andrew Durand? He has one of the most unique and awesome voices I've ever heard on Broadway, and I'm not going to give away spoilers, but it is called Dead Outlaw, and he plays a dead guy for like 45 minutes, where he's literally standing in the same position, not blinking, holding still. And that within itself, kind of its own crazy thing that I could never do myself. James Monroe Iglehart for playing Louis Armstrong. The videos I've seen from my friends, everyone says he's wonderful. He got the voice down. He was dancing, he was playing the trumpet. I saw him as the genie in Aladdin, which he won his first Tony Award for. I think he's wonderful. But the top 2 in this category who are giving really exceptional performances are Jonathan Groff for Just in Time and Tom Francis for Sunset Boulevard. So Just in Time just opened a couple weeks ago on Broadway, while Sunset Boulevard has been open for a couple months now, for which Tom Francis won the Olivier for the London production. Who do I want to win? Jonathan Groff for Just in Time. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, he's giving an exceptional performance. But Tom Francis has just that little more to work with, and he's in this revolutionary revival of the show. And again, the campaign, the press that he's done for the show, I think Tom Francis is gonna get the Tony Award, and he deserves it. Now we're going to Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play. We have George Clooney for Goodnight and Good Luck, Cola Scola for Oh Mary, John Michael Hill for Purpose, Daniel Day Kim for Yellowface, Harry Lennox Purpose, and Lewis McCartney for Stranger Things The First Shadow. Tough category once again. It could be any one of these people in this category, and I would say they deserve it, but for me, it's really in between John Michael Hill and Lewis McCartney for their performances. I think they are center stage for everything and dealing with the world around them, and it is really a task within itself to be able to do that show every night. They are phenomenal. Okay, the next 2 categories are really big for me. One of them is probably bigger for you, but we're gonna do the play one first, and then we're gonna go to musical. Stand by. So we have Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play. We have Laura Donnelly for The Hills of California, Mia Farrow for The Roommate, LaTanya Richardson for Purpose, Sadie Sink, John Proctor as the villain, and Sarah Snook, The Picture of Dorian Gray. I think all of these performances are wonderful, but I have to say, and I've been saying this since the moment I saw it, Laura Donnelly's performance in The Hills of California is one of the most inspiring performances I've ever seen in my entire life. In the first and second act, she plays the mom of these 4 children, and then in the third and final act, she plays the 4th daughter, who we have yet to see in the play. If you missed the show, I'm so sorry. Please purchase that play and read it. It is so phenomenal. It's one of my favorite plays of the season. But she's up against Sarah Snook, who I've mentioned before is playing all the roles. I think it's in between them. I would not be mad if either of them win, but Laura Donnelly, you have my heart. And next, we have the category that people will not stop talking about that I don't even have the answers to, but I have my opinions, which is Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. We have Megan Hilty for Death Becomes Her, Audra McDonald for Gypsy, Jasmine Amy Rogers for Boop the Musical, Nicole Scherzinger for Sunset Boulevard, and Jennifer Simard for Death Becomes Her. I don't think I've ever seen a Tony category this insane before. I mean, you have Megan Hilty, who started off in Wicked and 9 to 5, the TV show Smash, and now getting nominated for her first leading actress Tony Award for Death Becomes Her. Her performance in this is unparalleled, along with Jennifer Simard, who was also nominated for her first Tony Award in a leading actress category. Out of the two of them, I do have to say Jennifer Simard takes the cake. She is insane. Her choices are incredible. Both of them are, but Jennifer Simard is giving something just a little bit extra that cannot be matched by anyone else. In the words of Alyssa Edwards, who would be the three of the group? So, Nicole Scherzinger, as I've mentioned, huge campaign. The biggest thing she's been talking about is this is the show I was meant to do. It wasn't the role I thought I was meant to do. It's become that. She is delivering this cold, nasty, raw version of Norma Desmond. It is spectacular. She fills the stage with her voice and her presence. Jasmine Amy Rogers, who I saw in Boop the Musical last night, was exceptional, was phenomenal. I literally walked out. I felt like I was a 50-year-old man, which I kind of am. I just kept believing she's a marvel. I feel like people are comparing it to seeing Barbara Streisand do Funny Girl. I'm not upset at that. She has the voice down, has the look down. She is giving, again, one of the best performances I've seen. And finally, Audra McDonald, who, if she wins this Tony, it will be her 7th Tony win. Needless to say, I think we can all agree, Audra McDonald is going to win that Tony. I know, I can hear you yelling, I can hear your opinion. I agree with you. Nicole is giving a once-in-a-lifetime performance, and so is Jasmine Amy Rogers. Jasmine Amy Rogers has proven herself, and she will continue to prove herself. So if she doesn't win this Tony, I will not be mad because this is her first time around. Nicole Scherzinger, however, has had this illustrious career. This is her Broadway debut, and in like one of the biggest roles ever written for a woman on stage. So I don't know, but I think it's all pretty clear. Audra's gonna win the Tony, but Jasmine and Nicole, I secretly really want Jasmine. I'm sorry. I think Jasmine is really phenomenal, but Audra, congratulations. Final 3 categories. These are the big ones. We have Best Revival of a Musical, Best Play, and finally, Best Musical. So we have Best Revival of a Musical. We have Floyd Collins, Gypsy, Pirates, the Penzance Musical, and Sunset Boulevard. I think all of them have proven to be new adaptations of what it originally was. Floyd Collins was actually, if you didn't know, was technically off Broadway, but has been done around the world, so it's considered a revival. Gypsy is obviously a revival of the classic musical, one of the best written musicals of all time. Pirates, the Penzance Musical is one of the oldest musicals in the book, is rewritten to be taken place in New Orleans. And finally, Sunset Boulevard, which has been totally reimagined by Jamie Lloyd. I think it's pretty clear that Sunset Boulevard is going to be winning Best Revival of a Musical. It won that award at the Olivier's, and I think it really takes the cake when it comes to this season. I sound so official. Sorry guys. I sound like it really takes the cake, and I just think it really went. I sound so pretentious. I'm not. I just love it. But yes, Sunset Boulevard, I think you're gonna win. A close second is maybe Gypsy, but I think because of what the production team has done with Sunset Boulevard, it's really proven itself in this season. So for Best Play, we have English, The Hills of California, John Proctor as the villain, Oh Mary, and Purpose. This is a really crazy category for me because it's like, how do you compare Oh Mary to The Hills of California, or John Proctor as the villain to Purpose, or like English to any of them? I think a lot of people are gonna say Oh Mary because of what it's done. Literally last spring, not even a year ago, it ran at the Lucille Lortel Theater downtown, and then sold out all of its run and moved to the Lyceum Theater on Broadway, which is the oldest Broadway house and one of the biggest, and has been doing so well in that theater. Purpose, however, just won the Pulitzer Prize for Best Play, but then you have The Hills of California, which was written by Jez Butterworth, who won the Tony Award for The Ferryman. John Proctor is the villain, which is this like exciting play that has brought like young middle schoolers and high schools to Broadway. And then English, which is this beautiful play about these people coming together trying to learn English from their own native languages. So how do you compare them? I have no clue. But just because how the Pulitzer Prize came out, I think Purpose is going to win. Oh Mary's a close second, along with Hills of California and maybe even English. I just don't know. But I think that Purpose is gonna win just because of its status and how stunning of a show it was. And now, the grand finale that you've all been waiting for. I've been recording for over an hour at this point. Who is going to win the Tony Award for Best Musical? Buena Vista Social Club, Dead Outlaw, Death Becomes Her, Maybe Happy Ending, and Operation Mincemeat, a new musical. So in my opinion, for so many reasons, because it's an original musical, because of Michael Arden, because of the performances, I think Maybe Happy Ending is gonna win Best Musical. The close seconds are Dead Outlaw and Buena Vista Social Club, but I think just because of what Maybe Happy Ending has done for original musicals is going to win, and I think is gonna be really amazing for everyone involved, is gonna prove that musicals without any previous adaptations can succeed and win a bunch of Tony Awards and Best Musical. So, those have been my predictions for the 2025 Tony Award season. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you have other thoughts, if you think other people should be nominated that they weren't in categories, let me know down below. Again, this is coming from a theater lover and doer who has seen a lot of these shows. Let me know if you're gonna watch the Tony Awards on Sunday, June 8th at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on CBS. I know I will. Oh, my thing fell. Go support live theater, and I hope you have an amazing day. I'll leave you with a song. Let's end it with Maybe Happy Ending. How does it go? Oh my god, how does it go? My suitcase, my life here something, here I go. And now I'm hitting the road. Let's go. I will never be in that show. Okay, bye, watch the Tony Awards.